tools you're going to need for the job are a jigsaw, a flat bar, a folding rule, pencil, tape measure, utility knife, a chisel, a handsaw and a hammer. Now there's a number of different options available to you. A couple of key points you should know. You don't use this in wet areas and preparation is the key. First thing you want to do is remove your existing floor covering. In this case, it's carpet. And then the tacks that hold the carpet in place. Rightio, so we take our little carpet tacks up. One thing to look out for, sometimes it leaves in these nasty little nails, so you want to pull those up as well. Cool, now let's remove our tiles. Now these tiles are coming up pretty easy. I'm just using a nice little 3-inch bolster here. That'll do the job for this. If you feel that your tiles are not coming up as easy as this, you could go to the hire shop and hire yourself something a little bit more heavy duty. Rightio, all our tiles are up. All we've got to do now is address all this adhesive that's on the floor. That's all part of our preparation of the floor. It's the key to getting a really good, nice flat floor. So once we take that up, we'll also check that our floor is nice and level, ready for us to put our underlay down. Now I've got the existing floor coverings off, I'm going to take off the skirting. So let's just run ourselves a nice little sharp knife line just to break no more gaps or glue that might be from the skirting to the wall. And that's just going to help us take the skirting off without it peeling any paint or any wallpaper. Now you just want to take extra caution when you are pulling off these skirtings. I'm going to be reusing these, so I'm just going to be really, really careful with it. Good little tool is these flat bars. Slips them down behind the back of the skirting quite nicely, and the good thing about them, you can also use them for chopping the nails. If you've got wider skirting, you can use a sabre saw to slip between the wall and the skirting to cut through the nails. Now that we've taken up all our coverings, it's time to have a quick look just to see how flat our floor is. So the industry standard is we don't want any more than 3 millimetres per metre deflection, either up or down. So if we've got any hollow points that's more than 3 millimetres, we're going to have to fill those with a self-levelling compound. And if we've got any raised bits, you're going to have to grind that back. Righto, we're just about to put down our insulation. Just before we do that, we're going to need to cut our architraves off so our flooring slips nice and neat underneath that. There's a couple of different ways we can do this. We've got an offcut of our insulation there, that goes down, and an offcut of our flooring. So if we put that down, that's going to create our height. Now, you can use a nice little sharp panel saw, sit that on and chop that off, or you can use one of my best friends, the multi-tool. Sit that on there, boom. Beautiful. Now, our flooring will just slip right underneath that nice and neat. Now this is our foil underlay. The great thing about this, if you've got any slight undulations in the floor, that's going to smooth it out. A good thing about it also, it's a great moisture barrier, and another key benefit about it, it's also good for insulation. But your underlay hard up against your walls. There's many different types of click-together flooring, but the installation is pretty much still the same. Line up your underlay and tape it together by removing the adhesive backing and sticking it down. So the good thing about this foil underlay, it's got this nice little adhesive strip. We don't need to attach that to the floor at all. This just gets attached to the other piece of underlay. Continue round the room and take your time. Make sure there's no wrinkles. Okay, it's time to lay our flooring. Now, we always start on the left-hand end of our room of the longest wall. So that's why I'm starting here. I'm going to take my floorboard, and you want a minimum of 10 millimetres off our walls. So we've got our lovely little packers here. That's going to form our 10 millimetres. Rightio, the reason for our packers against the wall, that's to allow for any expansion. Put your packers in and click the floorboards into place. Okay, time to cut our last board. So I've got another piece of our planking. I'm going to turn that around 180 degrees so the tongue is facing the tongue. Slide that up against it, ensuring that we're still a minimum of 10 millimetres away from the wall. And we're just going to mark the tongue where the top of our board is going to sit. Now, we turn that back around, and that's going to be our piece that we're going to use here, and the offcut is going to do down the second row. You can use a drop saw or a hand saw to cut the planks. Okay, so here's our two pieces. That's the bit I want. It's got the interlocking piece. Drop that in. Make sure we slide our packers in. Now the offcut here, that's going to start our second row. The trick to laying the planks is to slide the boards into each other, give it a light push until you hear it click, then push it down. Work your way along the row and once again, cut your last board to size. You then follow the same process row by row. And don't forget every so often to put in your packers. If any of the planks have damaged edges, don't use them. Rightio, I'm almost done. Now, as you can see, I've staggered all my joints so there's no obvious pattern. Now, when staggering your joints, there is one rule, a minimum of 400 millimetres between your joints. That's because our floor is floating and this is going to add to the strength. Now here's a tip on how to cut your last board. There's an easy way to measure it up. First cut your boards to length, then lay them directly on top of the previous row. Move the boards 10 millimetres towards the wall. This will allow for our expansion. Next, grab a full width offcut like this and use it to mark a line. This will give you the exact measurement, so your last board will fit in place. Use your table saw and drop saw to cut out the floorboards. I'm going to be laying some silicone between the new and existing floor, so duct tape is a great way to keep it nice and tidy. So I'm putting a bit of silicone in between our two floors. That's going to help for our expansion, or you could put down an aluminium cap. Now that all your floors are in place, don't forget to remove your packers, and then it's time to put your skirting back on. Now you can fill any holes, sand, and paint your skirting. So there we have it. As you can see, an amazing transformation and something you can do yourself. Easy as.